Hello. Okay. Just got my recorder and audition up and running. It took me a little bit, but this is for the two women in my life recently that have decided to continue this journey with me. Um, it's January 2nd, 2:24 a.m. And yeah, well, I was perplexed to hear what people do at night, um, to substitute having a sponsor in their life, right? Um, and so I know those nights, you know, I know those nights not having somebody to reach out to, and then you have to fill the gap at night with something else. So, um, believe it or not, you know, today is very different for me because, today is, day, I have it on my calendar, day 38 of female sponsorship in the Narcotics Anonymous program. So, and I remember that feeling of, how do I do this? And there's a sponsorship booklet, you know, that can be purchased. And, most groups have it for sale. Um, the one day that I wanted it, it wasn't available. So, um, on November 30th this year, I just realized there was a Barnes and Nobles. So, um, so I'm a member of that, of many things. I have many memberships. So I'm gonna just chime over here to the Nook, and I'm just, I have put it in my cart, as everybody puts stuff in their cart. The ebook for $7.99 through Barnes and Noble. The on sponsorship, particularly for the Narcotics Anonymous program. So I'm in chapter 1. What is sponsorship? A cornerstone of the Narcotics Anonymous program. No single philosophy or belief adequately describes or defines what a sponsor is or what a sponsor does. Over the years, sponsorship has become an important and basic tool of the NA program and is practiced in many ways. The sponsorship relationship for many members is personal and private. An NA sponsor is an experienced member of Narcotics Anonymous to whom we turn for guidance with our own program of recovery. Many members believe that sponsorship is a vital part of the recovery process. Along with the 12 steps and 12 traditions, sponsorship is considered one of the cornerstones of the program and the NA way of recovery. The therapeutic value of one addict helping another is exemplified in this relationship with another NA member. Before arriving at the doors of NA, most of us had been living on the edge of humanity, moving deeper and deeper into fear, isolation, and despair. We wanted to find another way to live, but the solution always seemed to elude us. Once we began attending meetings regularly, I'll add, and learning about the Narcotics Anonymous program, our lives start to change and we realize the importance of seeking support. And these are, quotes from other NA members. Okay? For me, one member says, my relationship with my sponsor became, and in parentheses, and still is, the first relationship with another human being who opened my heart to the possibilities of becoming a member of the human race. Another member says, if I ever needed someone in my life, I needed my first sponsor. He was someone who made me feel a part of NA. He was a friendly face in a world of emotional pain. He was someone who helped me keep going when I could no longer walk by myself. One of NA's greatest gifts is hearing the message carried through love and kindness. Now, we need help and want to reach out to another member. This is why I'm doing this. However, we often fear rejection and may experience overwhelming anxiety at the thought of approaching someone to be our sponsor. While in the grip of our disease, we had distorted thinking and perceptions. Some of us believed we were invincible and powerful. Yeah. Some of us. I am that. While others avoided all contact with people. Now, as our minds start to clear and we awaken from our drug-induced haze, we feel vulnerable, exposed, and helpless. During this fragile time in our recovery, we see that a sponsor may be able to help us deal with these feelings so that we do not have to run from them. 2 more quotes from members. For me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing that in meetings just for me, right? Acceptance is one of the most important parts of the NA program. It is for me. And it took a very long time to get there for me. Yeah, a very long time to get to that level of acceptance. 28 years from my first meeting in April 1997. And okay. I'm just going to do a sidebar here, because Spiritual Principle a Day, SPAD, NA.org. Unity is, basically unity is what keeps us coming back. So, I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about everything before that first meeting in April of 1997. And my fourth child, my daughter, I didn't think I was going to have a daughter, in the hospital, and I'm, going to the meeting with my husband that just graduated from Serenity House. And I'm like, how selfish of me to be in a meeting when my daughter's in the hospital. I need to be with her, right? But, I was torn between, my newborn and my husband, and he didn't seem to have a problem with it. He really didn't have an interest in his newborn child because he had just graduated from Serenity House. And, I understand now, but I didn't understand then. So that first meeting for me was like, you selfish prick. And then I'm looking around the room and, everybody's saying, hey, hey, Jason, and all that. And I'm like, you selfish pricks. So that was my first meeting. Yeah. In Narcotics Anonymous. You selfish pricks. And so I'm like, driving home, saying the same thing after leaving the meeting. Like, there is more out there. There is so much more going going behind the scenes of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, that you're more interested in sharing your story about filling up your cart, your shopping cart. And here I am at 2:35 in the morning, but it's concerning Narcotics Anonymous literature. So if that's my obsession, literature, well, I'll take that to the bank. But of course, you know, I didn't get to have a chance to share that today. So you two ladies get to hear it. Just, as raw as it is at, 2:36 in the morning. That frustration. Because I do have to have a level of acceptance, yeah. And yeah, so, so this members, that was me. Okay. Now let's get back to the literature. I did my little sidebar. So for me, this member, acceptance is one of the most important parts of the NA program. When I came into the rooms, I was lost, lonely, hurting, and feeling like nothing mattered except death. Oh, okay. Hmm. In that respect, I guess I was the selfish prick. But then I was thinking about death, because um, my husband comes to me later asking for a contribution because um, one of the young men that he went to treatment with, he just found out he had died from an overdose, and he needed some money to make a contribution um, to purchase a brick for him. And I said, you damn right I will. That, I put everything aside and I said, yeah, you damn right. You will get money for that brick. Okay? I hated myself so much. I was broken and I felt no one wanted anything to do with me. Above all, my drug problem. It took me a while to get the courage to ask someone to be my sponsor. And yeah, it took me a long time. And several attempts. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that this particular woman said yes, despite, you know, despite rumors and, and she didn't say, I'll pray about it. She was ready, and I was too. But, believe me, I was not perfect. First thing I did say is like, look, as far as the rest of my life, I've got women, I've got a whole healthcare team. So I just want to focus on the literature. And she said, okay, call me every day after 4 p.m. And I said, you know what? That I can do. I will call you. Yeah, um, and you know, the thing is, when you call your, when you have that agreement and everything, you exchange numbers and everything, and you make that first call, and because I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be different and everything, and she did not answer. But, I've been in that situation, right? Driving down the road, somebody's trying to call me and everything, and I just can't get to the phone. Yeah, my phone is on silent. People trying to call me, and then I try to leave, voicemails and stuff like that, you know, to compensate for, me not being able to call at that moment. So if you call me, you're gonna get, 5 minute spill, like me reading a piece of spiritual literature, doing a spiritual reading. So, and everybody's got a commentary about that. Wow. But these are the things that I've done in order to have the 2 women I have in my life today, right? Yeah, where I'm their sponsor. Okay? You know, I did a lot of things to prepare for these women. Okay? And the number one thing I did is I got a female sponsor, right? That is pretty much the difference. Because it's very important to me that these women know that I believe in female sponsorship. Because, so many other women didn't feel that I did. But I did have some female sponsorship before, and it broke my heart when she passed away. Okay? Not to the point, where I went out and used, but it was just like, how do you replace that kind of relationship? You don't replace it. You just look, it's time for another new relationship, right? So, you know, for if this is your first time with any sponsor, welcome. Um, like I said, this is a different process, for me, and I want to be as welcoming as possible. And the only way that I know to be as welcoming as possible is to have a welcome video. Welcome you into sponsorship with a female that really wanted to have you. And I'm so excited that you had the courage to ask me to be your sponsor. And I know how it feels just needing a voice early in the morning. I used to sit around and be that available. Um, I'm getting older, and I can't always guarantee that I will answer the phone this late at night. So, excuse me, my throat's getting dry. Yeah, I just want, I just want you to know I've been there, and it's so important to me that I do something a little bit more creative, and you know, and something that can be shared with other women, right? Yeah, something that can be passed on. Yeah, and, yeah, December 14th, 2025, I had to sit in front of a VA social worker and complete my DNR. Do not resuscitate. And and I didn't put any family members on there. Okay? So, yeah. That was a wake-up call for me, you know? You know, it's okay to be that alone. But I'm never alone. Never again as an active member of Narcotics Anonymous. Okay? It just might, at this time, it just seems like I'm alone on paper. But what I've known in the past, I've been here before, you know, and, you know, um, and I can't, I can't express to you, how wonderful that moment is of awakening, realization, because, months later, I met my second husband. Yeah, yeah. So, and I'm looking at him right here on the wall. He is in this room. Is where he took his last breath, and I was trying to breathe for him. And that's been 11 years ago. So, one more quote from another member. When I first got clean, I was a mess. Well, yes. Still am. Still am. I could barely put two. I could barely put two sentences together. And I was afraid of everything and everyone. Okay, I'm listening. I didn't know what to make of the 12 steps. Okay, I'm listening. Much less asking another human being to help me. Keep going. I didn't trust anyone or believe in anything. Well, I believe in many things. But I do have that trust problem still. Yeah, you got to grow on me. However, however, I did hear that it was important to get someone as a sponsor, and I hope this whole thing expresses that. It was a frightening thought. Talking to a stranger. Hmm. But it was more frightening to think that if I didn't ask someone, I might just go back to using drugs again. And that is true. I mean, it's just, sometimes it's just 51% more in desire, just sometimes it's like 51%, right? You know, sometimes it, it gets down into the decimal points, man. So I hope uh, that our relationship flourishes, and I'm very excited about having you two women on board with me on this journey, because the journey does continue in another year. Welcome 2026 into day 2. And remember, spiritual principle of the day, unity is what keeps us coming back. All right, ladies. I'm going to wrap this up, and maybe I'll get some shut-eye before I chair a 7 a.m. meeting. Okay. All right. Peace out.